Happy people. Happy people. I hope we're all doing good today. Um, I am definitely present, definitely here, have a lot that I have to do this week. So I wanted to get on here and share with you what God dropped in my spirit. Um, it is an old quote that William Shakespeare said in one of his plays, and he said, "To thine own self be true." And then I believe Jay-Z or somebody adopted it and said it in one of his rap songs. But you know, I thought about what that meant, and I thought about the wisdom behind that. And it's interesting because this is a very transparent conversation, and it is a conversation that I like to explore, sharing different situations in my life that has transpired to shaping me in who I am, and how it's very important to realize that it may not line up with how other people feel about you, and vice versa with you towards someone else. And so, to thy own self be true. This is above all a true statement and a powerful statement that William Shakespeare wrote in Hamlet. But what does that really mean? What does it truly mean to thy own self to be true? See, because we live in a world that is constantly telling us who we are, especially in this day and time. We live in a world that's constantly telling us who we are, what we should be, and how we should act. Let me be clear about this. Uh, I had a conversation on this week, and the person had shared to me, and this was their mind of thinking. They shared with me, well, I've heard you say um, that we could have the conversation because we're going to win. And so it just let me know that you're just interested in winning. And it showed me the shape of how that person viewed me. And but it was taken out of context because the statement that I normally make, with people that are combative in my coaching sessions, or you know, uh, they carry such a strong exterior of not wanting to be open. I usually say, I invite you to be angry. I invite you to be mad. I invite you to cuss, cry, scream, yell. You may do all those things, because I know something that you don't know. In the end, in this situation that we're in, I'm going to win. And my win is your victory, is what I normally tell them. And so, how that person took that conversation that I was sharing with them and made it is that every conversation I'm in, I like to win the conversation, shaped and formed their view about how they seen me, taken out of context. What am I talking about, Jay? When we make statements about who we are and who we perceive to be or who we are trying to be, it is very important to be true to those statements. It's very important to be true to what you said, and don't let people take those things out of content just to pervert or fit the scenario of what their twisted mind or something is thinking. And I'm using twisted mind because it was very twisted for it to be even thought of like I just want to win every conversation. That's just, I'm not interested in winning conversation. I'm interested in having a conversation, an intelligent conversation, to where we can get to the root of certain situation. But that was telling me who that person in that aspect thought I was or think I am. And so my question is to you is, what how do you show up versus to how do you want people to view you? And are you being true to yourself in that aspect? I wrote down that when you look in the mirror, asking yourself, am I living a true life, and am I showing up as me unapologetically and authentically me? Ask yourself that. Am I showing up unapologetically? Because I don't apologize. I'm not apologizing for who I am, nor do I want that person to apologize for who they are. It just tells me in relationships, whether it's friends or whether it's acquaintance or whether it's partners or uh co-workers, it when a person show you themselves, you can adjust, especially if that person means something to you. You can adjust on what you will allow and tolerate versus what you won't allow or tolerate. Um, my One of my pet peeves is, if we're having a conversation, the conversation gets into a heated fellowship, is like what I would like to call it, is that you hear me out just the way I'm hearing you out. And when you have said everything you want to say in the heated fellowship and don't allow me to express myself in the heated fellowship, but you want to hang up the phone. To me, that's very disrespectful. I don't tolerate it. I do not tolerate it. And so, you know, um, in those instances, I've had to lay down boundaries with individuals that like to seemingly act in those poor manners of not knowing how to have a healthy conversation or a heated conversation, and then just agree to both disagree. Because when you have those conversations with people, it's not to win the argument, it's to find out what that person is seeing about you and helping that person shape what their thought is about you, helping to shape it in the right manner thought of what that person that's that person may mean in whatever statements or whatever comments or whatever situation they are. I give you another example. Yesterday, I had a conversation with my aunt, and we were talking about the election, and I was sharing to her my views on the election. She was sharing to me her views on the election. And in one of those situations, she said, "Well, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I do understand where you're coming from." Well, that was a disagreement because she said, "I don't agree with that, but I do understand where you're coming from." That was a healthy conversation. And so then it allowed me to rebuttal and say, "Well, the reason why I feel this way is because of XYZ, ZYX, or whatever." And she said, "I never thought about it that way." She said, "You know what? I get it." And then so she said, "But then she gave me the word of God according to that." And then I said, "Now, you know what? I had never heard it that way." So where there was a disagreement in the conversation, it became a healthy conversation because I was open to what she was saying. She was open to what I was saying. And in the end, we laid it to rest and was able to move on to another conversation. That is a healthy conversation. That's a healthy, heated conversation. And when people can't have that with you and they want to always be heard, but not let the other person be heard, that's not healthy. It's not healthy. And so I'm using that as just the scenario because that just happened to me this week. But I'm saying, are you willing to change who you are to fit someone else's ideology about who you should be? To thy own self be true. Okay. And if that person just don't like who you are or they tolerate who you are, I just told someone the other day, I don't want people that tolerate me. I want people in my life that celebrate me. And if you tolerate me, then don't put yourself in a place to where you're just putting up with that person. You know, and you know, um, life is so short. Move on to somebody that you can have a good conversation to celebrate. Is the way I feel about it. You know, um, and then here's another twisted side of this that I want to share when we're talking about to thine own self be true. If you see something about someone and you wait to point it out, but yet and still you show or exhibit the same situations in yourself, then what that is showing me is that there's hypocritical comments coming out because, and I don't believe that a person is trying to be hypocrite, but I believe that what we should try to do is that when we make comments suggesting something about a person, you know, you should ask yourself, I know I do, would that line up with that person? And if that does it line up with me before I even share that with that person? That's what I normally do. I'm not saying everybody should do what I do, but that's what I normally do because I don't want to. Because the word of God says it's a two-edged sword; it cuts both ways. And so, if I sit there and say, "Well, don't eat that chocolate covered donut or whatever because that's gonna make you fat." Well, if I'm sitting here fat, then I don't have no business telling you to do something that I might be slurping out of Starbucks, which is still gonna make you fat. You get what I'm saying? And so I need to examine what it is that I'm trying to help a person on and seeing if I'm being true to that little ritual or what I'm getting ready to share with that person before I shed it abroad to someone else. Does that I hope that makes sense. I hope that computes. And so here's something. I'm not going to get through this. I wrote this all down because here's the thing. Many of us, we're out here living lives, our own lives, and we're wearing masks, playing the role, stuck in someone else's version of who we should be. When, when we should be discovering and meeting the expectations of who we really are, becoming one with that. Then I wrote down, we spend years trying to examine or live up to other people's expectations, parents, society, friends, our partners, and slowly lose sight of the most important person in our lives, ourselves. Hmm. Ask yourself how many people that you're trying to live up to and you're trying to conform to and losing yourself. And it happens a lot in marriages where two couples will become get together, and that person will try to become what that man wants that woman to be, or vice versa. The man becomes what that woman wants her to be, and they lose the authenticity of who they really are. And you find out years later, they separate because the kids done gone on to college or they divorced. And then they say, I don't even know who I am. I can't tell you how many people I coach that are in that situation or have gone through that situation. Or then you find people that gone through marriages and it shapes them into a way to where there's subtle bitterness there, and it shows up in their conversation. And I venture to say that person wasn't bitter before they got married. I don't know. Could have been. But, I would want to hope not, because oftentimes experiences in certain situations shapes and forms us to be certain ways. Okay. So you might want to examine yourself on that. Now, listen to me carefully. There is a truth inside of all of us screaming to come out. That voice that whispers, that tells you that it isn't who you really are. The job doesn't fulfill me, or this relationship is not allowing me to grow. For some reason, it keeps pushing that voice, and you keep pushing that voice down and down. You keep telling yourself it'll go away, but it won't. Come on, that voice on the inside that is shaping and fastening you who to be, and yet and still you listen to such and such that don't even know who they are, try to tell you who you should be. Okay, because nobody, most of the time, nobody takes the opportunity to stop and explore the wherewithal of who we are within. We're looking for outward sources to tell us who we are. Come on, come on. I mean, my job as a coach is to help a person find themselves and be true to themselves. Let's talk truth. My job is not to shape them into who I want them to be. My job is to say, tell me who you are, or it's a safe place to talk about who you are. And I'm going to tell you, when you create who you are, or when you show me who you are, I'm going to show you the value in who you can become. That's what I do. And that person, I can be that. Yeah, why not? Why would you shape, if a person doesn't like you because of how you show up, then that's their problems, not yours. Okay. And why would you make it your problem? That's imprisonment. You will spend most of your time in, and let me tell you something. I say this all the time. When you start taking a stand for yourself, being true to who you are, I promise you, enemies that you're going to make. And you need to be okay with that. Okay? Because listen, if they become your enemy because you stand in flat foot because of who you want to be and who you feel in your spirit you should be, then they have the problem. Let them work it out. All right? I hope this is helping somebody. First, look at this. Journey down to a self awareness of a self assessment about who you are. Take that journey. Examine yourself. Who am I? Who am I called to be before the very foundations of the world? Who did you design me to be? And let me become one with that. I don't care that I don't look like, this person, or I don't sound like this person, or I don't act like that person. Who did he call me to be? Because that's who heaven is going to respond to. Let's talk about self-awareness in the compassionate sense, okay? See, the first step to living your truth is recognizing that you will have to know who you are. Now stop and think about it and ask yourself at this moment, who am I? I'm not talking about who they told you you should be. I'm not talking about let me see, how do I want to say this? Who you were conditioned to be. Think that's the better way of saying it. And I'm not talking about the essence of you, the part of you that exists before life started telling you what you could do, what you really could do. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stay on this for a minute. Um, so this is how we get there. How do we start walking in our truth? It starts with honesty, radical and brutal honest about yourself. Wow. Asking yourself who I am. I don't know how that did that, but I didn't do that. So I hope I'm recording this right. Because I don't know. Uh what do I really want? I hope I made this private. Well, I don't know. Whatever. And what do I stand for? What am I afraid of? See, you got to ask yourself, and you got to sit in these questions. You got to sit in these questions. You have to be willing to dig deep to confront the part of yourself that you are avoiding. Got to be willing to dig in that thing. And a lot of times we don't dig because we don't like what we find when we dig it up. Hmm? Okay. Because here's the truth, you cannot change what you won't face, and you cannot heal what you won't acknowledge. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time because I like that. Here's the truth, you cannot change what you won't face, and you cannot heal what you won't acknowledge. Okay, I'm going to do one more in this segment. So then that way, and I'm going to, because I'm running out of time and I know I am. Um, let me see. Should I do? Yes, I'm going to do one more. Firm and but nurturing. Embracing who you truly are requires courage, real courage. It's about standing up and saying, "This is me, flawless and all, strength and weakness, and I'm okay with that." Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something though. Let me tell you something. You are not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that should be okay with you. You were designed to be or to fit into a you wasn't well, let me just put it like this, you wasn't designed to fit in everyone's mode. Your purpose is not to make everyone comfortable. Your purpose is to show up as your authentic self and live a life you were called to live in. Okay. It's the truth. It's the truth. Some of us are hiding, and we've been hiding for too long. You've been dimming your lights because you're afraid of what people might think. But let me remind you of something. When you were created, God looked at you and said, "This is good." You do not need anyone's validation to be who you are. You've already been validated by the Creator. I hope this blesses you. I hope this is blessing you. I'm at my 20-minute mark, and I hope this encouraged you. I hope that you understood the scenarios that we've given today, and how it will bless you. And I'm probably gonna do a part two to this. um I'm marking it in because I wrote down a lot of notes, and I think that these things that I wrote down was very, very indicative to help encouraging you to be your authentic self. Now, let me just go ahead and say this. I am excited because a lot of us don't take the time to examine yourself. A lot of us don't take the time to find out who we are. And so, in the quest of doing that, I want to invite you to listen, reach out, you know, reach out to me. And you can do that by going to my website. And, if you just don't know how to find out who you are, I'll invite you to, call. Call. Let's go ahead and explore that. I'm willing to go with that journey with you. There's ways that you can even get my coaching for free. Um, and we have a team of people that really gets in for 3 days and do extensive coaching to help you get on the right path of what you desire to be at and where you desire to go and where you're desiring to head towards. And so, we're relentless. It just doesn't stop at the 3 days. We continue to foster that relationship, and I'm being there for you. And I've heard great success, and I'm still seeing great success from other people that have experienced it. And I would just love to invite you just to come and try it, to be a part of the Let's Talk Truth, and let's get to a place to where you're happy, where God is wanting to you're happy into a place to where God wants to now step in and say, let me go ahead and just move that person into a purpose. Come on now, like for real. Because I mean, if you're here for a purpose. All right. And um, there may be other situations. It may be you with a loved one, or you with, a husband. You're trying to figure out how you fit and stuff like that. It may be a corporate situation where you have that you have a corporate office, and you may want me to come in and do some team building. Listen, hey, we're available, and we're willing to come, and we're excited about coming. And so I hope that helps you. Please look out www.imjlstone. Click the casting button or click the pre-coaching button, and then it'll send me or my team the information. We'll reach out to you and figure out how we can kind of help support you. Okay, so that's that. And then, if you are interested in some tools, I got some great tools. This book is called The Power to Build a Man. And now I'm glad that we're on The Power to Build a Man and the workbook. The workbook is not designed for just men. It's designed for mankind. And I use this workbook in our coaching sessions, and we very rarely get through it. Matter of fact, I don't think we've ever gotten through it, because at some point you have that aha moment, and you want to stop and you want to dig there and start digging up the roots from there. But it's a very, very, very good workbook. The book itself, the self-help book, is designed for women about us as men. But I'm excited to tell you this. I have just completed the book that goes along. Well, I was told to do 3 books, and I did it. And I just completed. It took me, oh my God, it took me, I did let me see, I did The Power to Build a Man back in 2009. So it took me that long, to almost 14, 15 years to complete The Power to Cover a Woman. And I did, and I think it took me so long because I was still learning what that looked like. And I didn't want to create a self-help book that I hadn't walked through, or that I wasn't living, and so I like to be very transparent. I like to know that it worked for me before I can try to share it with somebody else. So it took me that long. And so I finally completed that book. I'm in the process of getting it. Uh, I guess you have to get it formatted to size. And then I have my team of people working on the art and graphs for the cover. And we're getting ready to go do some photo shoots for that book. So be looking for that. It's called, come on, and it's for men, the power to cover your woman. I think it's what it's going to be called. But we've been playing around with it. The power to cover a woman, the power to cover your woman, the power to cover mom woman. And so, is, and I don't know. So, hey, you know what? That's a good thing. Um, won't you inbox me and tell me what you think the book should be called? And if we pick that, hey, I'm going to send you something. I'm going to send you one of the books free. Okay. So tell me, should it be called the power to to cover a woman, the power to cover my woman, or the power to cover a woman? Tell me what you think it should be, and we'll go from there. I want to hear from you on that, okay? But I'm excited. I got it done, and so uh, now I'm getting ready to start working on the third book, and I'll tell you about that later. But it's nowhere, it'll be done soon. It won't take me 15 years. I can promise you that. But I'm excited. So, be looking for that. It will be in Amazon, and hopefully I can get it into other stores, Barnes and Nobles, or you can actually order from me and we can get it out there to you, stuff like that. But it's a very, 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 very powerful tool for men because sometimes we just don't know. Okay. And you need to know. And I'm here to share those experiences that I've learned, with you to kind of help you through it. Okay. Come on now, there's nothing new under the sun. And then, um, did let that go away? Then, if you want, I have the t-shirts, and I got one on now. Favor of God, and I have I'm fearfully wonderfully made. And listen, those shirts are inexpensive, but great quality. Great quality. They don't shrink, when you wash them or dry them and stuff like that. Although I do hang mines up all the time. I just don't like the dry and feel of it, but I hang mines up. But they don't fade at all, you guys. They're very, very good quality material. And we would love to get those out there to you as a tool to remind people who they are, or to remind yourself when you look at yourself what God has said. You're favored, or you're fearfully, wonderfully made. And so we want to share those with you. And so just go ahead and go to my website or reach out to me and, inbox me and stuff like that. And we can get them out there to you. Okay. All right. All about lifting people up, all about encouraging people, all about doing it on purpose, in purpose, with all power. Okay. Listen, would you do me a favor? Please like, subscribe, and share this. I'm going to say it again: like, subscribe, and share this so somebody else can be blessed by learning how to be their authentic self. Okay. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Have a blessed one.